Hi, it's Sue Bishop from Kiara College and welcome to the newsletter for 2021, well, the first newsletter. My apologies, I didn't get a chance to do one in January. I'd like to talk today about change. Have you noticed the changes? Can you see the changes? They're happening all around us. Some are quite obvious, some are very subtle, some are hidden from us. But there's one thing I can say that 2021 is all about is change, and wow, what a new change we're going to have. I want you to think about how resilient to change are you? It's a big question, isn't it? How resilient to change are you? You know, some of us adapt really well to change when we're prepared. When we know what to expect in upcoming changes, we adapt. Look at the seasons. The seasons are always changing. But we adapt, don't we? We don't even think twice. Like, summer comes, out come the summer clothes, and we tend to do more outdoor things. You know, people might consider riding a bike to see someone, or even riding a bike to work. Autumn comes, you change your wardrobe. You modify some of your behaviours. Winter comes, so when you're riding a bike to work, it's in the car, but you're putting on different clothes. You eat different foods. We adapt to seasonal changes because we're used to them and we know what to expect. We know that summer's going to be hot, wear light clothing. We know winter's going to be cold, rug up. But these are changes that we are used to, even though each winter feels a little bit different. Some are extra cold, some are mild. Each summer is different. For example, we started off in December and January with quite a lot of rain, very wet, as in a cool, cold, wet, for a summer. But in general, we know that the seasons are going to bring change and we adapt because we know, well, that's an external event and it's pointless running around in a pair of shorts in the middle of winter when there's a cold wind and loads of cold rain. It's counterintuitive, obviously. So we know there are circumstances in life where changes are going to come, and either we prepare and adapt to those changes or we learn the hard way. This year, and I mentioned this in the last newsletter, is the year of change because we're in a universal 5 year. And 5 energy wants us to look at where we can make the changes. It wants us to be adventurous, to explore new ground, to learn new things, to go out and feel and do things for yourself. The negative of the 5 is a lack of freedom, inertia, internalized frustration because we can't do what we want to do. Some changes this year are going to be because you create them. You want them. Now, changes that we create are always empowering. I want to do this, you go and do it, you feel great because you've created that change. But when something external brings change, and it may not be a change that you like, it's challenging. So, for example, where your work has been reorganized and you've been made redundant. That's a change that's beyond your control. So what do you do about it? It can be a relationship change, it can be a health change, it could be a financial change, it could be a spiritual change. We're going to be confronted with the seesaw of change, positive and the negatives. It's not a year where balance is going to be easy, although we're in February, and February makes us look at the theme of balance, internal balance as changes come. How do I balance relationships? How do I balance my finances? How do I do things to help balance compromised health? This month, is about trying to work out how to balance elements of changes. But there could be some changes that you haven't recognized, things that haven't been in your face yet or haven't presented yet, which can be on the path and is on the path for all of us this year at some point. Energies that can bring changes to the nature of our freedom. changes to the nature of how we want to think about things, how we want to do things. For those that know their numerology, a 5 energy, while it does bring change, can also make people a little bit erratic, dive 100% into something, dive 100% out, because it doesn't actually have a lot of discipline. We've come out of a year, 4-year, which is all about having to have structures and discipline imposed. And the 5 just wants to break free, the total rebel, the revolutionary innovation, and just, hit the road and go for an adventure, travel. But we have all these restrictions from 2020 still in play, which makes the 5 energy a little bit more volatile. You might want to try to do something and throw yourself 100% in, but then, a new COVID restriction might come in. So how do you find balanced freedom in a year of change? Now, I mentioned earlier resilient change. What do I mean by that? Okay, when you instigate change, you've already got a level of resilience. You're prepared. So you can step forward and make that feeling resilient, that the changes I'm going to do are good for me. And you don't question, you just feel this is right. And you've got such confidence that you're adventurous enough to embrace the change and facilitate it. But what if change is imposed upon you? What if you were to lose your job next week, or your partner, say they've gone off to someone else, or they just want their freedom? What if your finances change? What if your friends change? What if your health changes? How resilient are you to unexpected change? Because this year is going to get us to actually explore this theme. How resilient am I to change? If I'm not very resilient, and as soon as that area of my life is being tested, it's not going to be a comfortable ride. It can be quite challenging. And we don't want anyone to have to go into the inertia or the frustration of the negatives of a 5. So by just spending time, a quick little meditation or a chat with your spirit guide, a higher self, universal self, what changes are needed in my life this year, and how do I create a sense of resilience to embrace these changes? If you know what changes are coming, you're always going to be one step ahead of the curve, and you can be prepared, and it can make it exciting, make it like, you're exploring new ground, but you're feeling good about exploring that new ground. It's like when you plan a holiday, but you kind of don't plan everything. You know where you want to go, maybe you book a hotel, but you leave the activities and the places you want to explore unstructured, so you just go with what feels right on that day. This year's a bit like that. We can only make a certain amount of plans, and maybe we're just going to have to step out and, allow ourselves to explore without expectation and enjoy the moment of learning and adventure. But at the same time, we also need to have a level of resilience, so if something unexpected happens on this little adventure, you've got something to fall on that makes you feel solid and complete and safe. So we have a year of change. Next year's energy is going to be completely different because we're moving into a universal 6, and that will focus more on the value of family and home and love and following your visions and, a lot of creative endeavors. But this year, it's a teacher year. It's a year where you're going to learn resilience. A year when you're going to look at, what do I have to rebel against? What do I have to revolutionize in my life? What changes do I want? But more importantly, what changes do I have to embrace that I may not want? Now, talking to your high self again helps, because they'll show those that know their numbers can plot out their quadrants. Those that know their astrology, they'll look at where Saturn and Uranus, and that's where the revolution, the rebellion, the battle between the old order and where you want to go in your life is. So there's a lot of ways to arrive at this information, but the most important point, and I can't stress this enough, is how resilient to change are you? Some people will fight change, and it can be because it's not your truth. And if it doesn't resonate as your truth and it's been imposed on you, what do? Do you keep holding on to your truth? Or do you adapt your truth? Or do you find coping mechanisms to help you embrace the changes that may not resonate with you as a truth? It's also making us look at how we work with the fifth ray. Because if we're looking at the energies of rebellion, revolution, resilience, and embracing change, we can work with one of the universal rays, which is geared for that. And then that can be such an empowering thing. And it's amazing because the insights you get can then go over and help others and help the collective. I may have spoken in the last newsletter, universal ray number 5 is the ray for this year. Okay, so that is the ray of concrete intelligence. It is the ray where spirit and matter can merge together, where spirit and science can merge together. And what a wonderful blending. Because science can be quite concrete in its rational pursuit of, what it wants to understand about this world and the universe. But it's done from, theories, things that are measurable, things that they can work along that they expect to work. Like they'll get a new idea, but they'll go to tried and trusted methods first. Whereas the 5 energy for the scientists, the tech innovator, those in medicine, anything that uses any form of technology or requires innovation can benefit from the 5th ray. So basically you might have a science problem and you're stuck because you're using the methods that you've been taught or the methods that you know about. And the 5th ray comes in with this divine consciousness that brings in inspiration, innovation, new ideas. It's such an Aquarian kind of thing. New ideas, new way of doing things, and suddenly it blends into the scientific model and you get this explosion of something new that can be life-changing for a lot of fields. For example, in medicine, it can bring life-changing technologies to help people with cancer and things like that. It can bring for scientists ways to clean our oceans, ways to clean our air, ways to innovate food production. There's so much that's awaiting. It sits in the ethers in this ray, and it's up to us to bring it in. For ourselves, it brings those innovations, inspirational ideas, and new ways of doing. So it helps us then step forward into the matter, into the physical world, armed with knowledge, armed with the essence that can work through the throat, heart, solar plexus to manifest those new beginnings, new changes that we want. But as far as the collective, or as far as the field of science, we can bring that energy through us and direct it out into the earth, into the collective. So then any innovative idea that's come through us can make its way into the consciousness of other people. So you're still doing your bit to help create a revolution of ideas and a revolution of innovation into our world. The downside of a 5-year is that people allow their freedoms to be stripped. People do not revolutionize things. People do not embrace change. People do not work on their resilience. Now, I know we can usually only control what happens in our life, and we're empowered to say, hi, choose to respond to something, how we choose to do something. But we're in social groups, we're in work groups, we're in communities, and that can impact us. But on a bigger level, we're part of a collective consciousness. So what everyone else is doing, or the larger group of consciousness, so for example, what's it, critical mass, is always going to impact us. So if the collective doesn't care about freedom, doesn't care about innovation, doesn't care about bringing in inspirational changes or work on their resilience, we will feel it because we're part of that collective. So there's a lot happening in this year, and I'll talk a little bit each month of different aspects as we see the energies move. But for now, the question I want to leave this segment of the newsletter with is, how resilient are you to change, and what are you going to do about that? Okay. Now, at the start of every year, the Earth gets new energies, the cosmos brings new energies, and it's a perfect time to reset yourself. Now, some people do it through affirmations or New Year's resolutions, which might work for a month or two, then drift off, because we can often hold on to the past, and even though we try for change, we slip into old behaviours, which are remedied by new affirmations and doing the work to allow neural pathways to create these new beliefs, new behaviours that you want. But on an energetic level, if you've created protection or structures like avatars, things that you've set in place under the energy of 2020, they're not going to be as effective in 2021. So you've put up, say for example, watchtower protection, but it only holds the resonance of the essence of the earth and the cosmos at that point you created that protection. So if you started at the start of 2021, it'll hold it at that. Now if there's been energetic shifts in the earth, in the cosmos, through planetary movements, things like that, then what you've created holds an old framework. And you just want to upgrade it, because it might only now be 90% effective. It will hold to where the predominant energies when it was created. A lot of us get a bit lazy. We think, oh, I've done my protection, it's just going to keep on keeping on. But change comes. So it's wise, if you haven't already done so, right now, to upgrade your watchtower to suit the prevailing energies of 2021. If you created avatars of yourself, whether they're healing avatars, protection avatars, whatever it is that you've created an avatar for, again, it's holding that. If you create an avatar to spring back any psychic attack against you, again, it's all holding 2020 energies. We need to change it, just bring it up to suit 2021. Have you upgraded your chakras to suit the energy of 2021? If not, just a quick exercise, drawing the earth energy and asking that each chakra is attuned to the new frequencies. Likewise, bring it down from the cosmos, take it down to the earth, bring it up each chakra, aligning you to where the cosmos is at. This way you're synchronized both to the earth and to the universe, and so you're on the ball. You'll feel the changes that are coming, and you'll adapt and you will work with them. But if you keep your chakras aligned to the past, it doesn't give you the full scope of embracing the changes that are coming. Okay, so a bit of house cleaning at the start of the year, energetically. Align the chakras, cosmos, earth, clear them as well, I find that whether we are aware of it or not, we often enmesh a lot. And, at a collective level, we enmesh to what happened last year. And there was a lot of collective fear and doubt and uncertainty that a lot of auras, even though they're really fine, subtle ones because they come from the collective, were enmeshed to it. Unenmesh. Let last year's energies go. let the energy of the collective, that if it's working at the high spectrum, that's fine. Anything to do with love and compassion and joy, if you're enmeshed with that, that's okay, because those energies keep you moving. But anything that's embedded in the old energies of fear and doubt and uncertainty that you may not have created inside you, but you're absorbing from your environment or from the collective, which is done subconsciously, it's a really good time. Bringing down rays of silvery gold and white light and moving it through the aura and through the chakras, asking that it diminishes, take the energy into the earth to be converted into healing for you. So what you've done is you've created a new platform for the year, one that aligns you, but also one that you can then put new programs in. If it's what changes, you program what changes you want in that chart. If it's for empowerment, I program a change in my solar plexus. If it's for heart matters, such as needing more love in your life, program that in. If it's to express yourself better, program that. If it's to improve your third eye, so you work better psychically, program it in. No matter what it is that you want to bring change to, bring the belief, the vision, the essence into the chakras to help you create those new changes. Okay, and finally, I'm in the process of creating a new website, so my apologies in the meantime that there's a crossover until I get this new one working. I was going to start classes early March, but I'm just pushing them back to April, just clearing the last of the backlog of COVID issues. But hopefully there should be a new parapsychology class, metaphysics, spiritual healing, tarot, and parapsychology class. I may run around the May period, some via Zoom, some in person, mediumship, astrology and numerology. But I'll keep you posted in my newsletter, and hopefully the classes can start to work in the new format. If we do have problems with any future lockdowns where classes are interfered with, say for example it's a weekly class or monthly, then my plan B is to run these courses as retreats down at my holiday house down at Orange Point, where you can relax, take nice beach walks while still learning your course. So it's nice to have that as our backstop for this year. Anyhow, there'll be a supernatural blog video in this newsletter, and just a few upcoming events and things like that. So I hope you enjoy the newsletter. If you ever want me to talk about a particular paranormal subject for the blog, shoot me an email, or if there's a theme or topic generally metaphysical in nature that I can start my newsletter with, send me an email, caracollege@gmail.com. And I look forward to talking to you in the next newsletter. Bye for now.